Archaeologists can spend their entire career searching for ancient treasures and hidden items of historical importance, yet they may never find anything. As well as copious amounts of research and hard work, one other factor is far more vital in the discovery of treasure than any other: luck. Amateur treasure hunters with metal detectors have been responsible for accidentally stumbling across some of the greatest finds of all time, finding troves that experts might not have even realized existed. In other cases, people have bought items in stores or have been donated them without even realizing their true value. Fact Feed presents Amazing Treasures Found by Accident. Declaration of Independence. Michael Sparks was at a thrift store in Nashville buying a number of items when he came across what he thought was a modern reproduction of the Declaration of Independence and decided to buy it for just $2.48. However, after looking more closely at the document at home, he realized that it looked a lot older than he had first thought, and so he began to investigate exactly what it was. It turned out that it was one of just the 200 original and official copies of the Declaration of Independence, being only the 36th sample that has been found. It was later sold at an auction and achieved the price of $477,650. The Rosetta Stone. The Rosetta Stone was essential in allowing historians to finally decipher Egyptian hieroglyphics, as it contains the same text in 3 different languages. Despite its huge importance on the understanding of ancient Egypt, though, it was found completely by accident when French soldiers were on an expedition when Napoleon attempted to knock down some walls to expand a fort. The slab was then taken back to Europe, where it was studied, allowing experts to translate the hieroglyphics into modern language. Ringel Cup. Cliff Bradshaw found the Ringel Cup accidentally in 2001 when he was using a metal detector. Bradshaw was not looking for any particular items, but had made an agreement with the owners of the land to search the fields. The Golden Cup originates from a date between 1700 BC and 1500 BC, and stands at 14 centimeters high. Though it has suffered significant damage, the British Museum paid Bradshaw and the Smith family $520,000 for the cup in 2002. The Uncle Sam Diamond. The Uncle Sam Diamond was discovered in a park that is now known as the Crater of Diamonds State Park. W.O. Basham was out walking in the area in 1924 when he came across the large gemstone. After it was cut down to 12.42 carats, it was eventually sold in 1974 for a fee of $800,000 when adjusted for inflation. The Arkansas Park is actually filled with precious stones, and visitors find diamonds almost every single day. The Venus de Milo. The Venus de Milo was discovered when a farmer was searching for a white stone to build a new wall. He came across the statue in 2 large pieces and was able to unearth them thanks to the help of a French naval officer looking for archaeological dig sites. Word of the find spread around the local area, prompting another French sailor to purchase it off the 2 men and take it back to France. It now stands in the famous Louvre Museum in Paris. Magnolias on gold velvet cloth. Looking to find something to cover a hole that had been made in his wall, an anonymous man from Indiana spent $30 on a nice-looking painting of some flowers. Months later, when he was playing a board game about artwork, he saw a card that resembled his picture, leading him to believe that it may have been a piece by artist Martin Johnson Head. The Kennedy Galleries were able to verify that the painting was genuine after some investigation, and the Museum of Fine Arts purchased it for $1.25 million. Hawks and Hoard. When a farmer lost his hammer in one of his fields in England, he asked his friend Eric Laws to search for it using his metal detector. While he was out looking for the tool, Eric came across a treasure trove that contained a large collection of coins, including 565 gold coins and 14,191 silver coins. They reported the find to the local authorities, who then paid the pair $2.7 million before taking the valuables to a museum to be put on display. Lascaux Cave. The Lascaux Cave was discovered in 1840 by an 18-year-old called Marcel Ravidat. He later brought several friends back to the entrance to explore the cave fully before informing authorities about the find. After experts investigated the cave, they found hundreds of different paintings of various animals and estimated that they had been created some 17,300 years ago. The cave is now closed off to the public in an attempt to preserve the painting from mold and fungus. Middleham Jewel. While out walking along a footpath in the North Yorkshire town of Middleham, Paul Kingston and Ted Seaton came across a gold pendant with their metal detector. From the late 15th century, the piece of jewelry had a 10-carat sapphire stone and 68 grams of gold inscribed with a representation of the nativity scene. The Yorkshire Museum paid the pair $4 million for the pendant so that they could display it in York. Tomb of Chinese Emperor. When digging into ground to create a new well in 1974, a group of Chinese farmers discovered one of the most important archaeological finds in the history of the country. They had accidentally unearthed the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, a 3rd century leader who was the first of the Qin dynasty. Inside the cavern were 8,000 life-size terracotta soldiers, each with their own individual face. Golden Treasure of Bonagora. This treasure is a masterpiece of Thracian workmanship and was founded by the Dykov brothers in 1949 near the town of Bonagora, Bulgaria. As they were working in a clay pit at a factory, they made an unusual discovery which consisted of a dish, an amphora, 7 rhytons, all made of solid 24-karat gold with a total weight of 6,164 kilograms. Archaeologists have calculated that the treasures belonged to an ancient, unknown Thracian ruler or a wealthy person who owned them in the 3rd century BC. Since the items are extremely valuable and rare, the Bulgarian authorities prefer to keep them in the vault of the Bulgarian National Bank. Different museums worldwide have sets of excellent copies of the Thracian treasures. Baseball cards. In February 2011, Carl Kistner found 700 rare baseball cards that belonged to his grandfather. Carl Hensch, who died in the 1940s, was cleaning his attic when he saw the box stashed under a wooden dollhouse. When he opened it, he saw a bunch of old cards that didn't look like any he had seen before. This large collection was described by experts as the biggest, most exciting find in the history of sports card collecting, a discovery probably worth millions. In August 2011, the family decided to sell some of the cards during the National Sports Collectors Convention in Baltimore. Experts say that the cards might bring up to $2 to $3 million to Carl and his family. Superman comic book. An extremely rare edition of Action Comics in which Superman makes his first appearance sat in a Minnesota home's wall for over 75 years. In 2013, while doing renovations in a house, contractor David Gonzalez found a comic book among newspapers used as insulation in the walls of the house. The comic book was sold several weeks after its discovery for $175,000 to an unknown buyer. Unfortunately, Mr. Gonzalez ripped the back cover of the comic, which cost him almost $50,000 of the total price, but it was still a very lucky discovery. Underground City. In 1963, a Turkish man who knocked down a wall in his basement managed to discover an entire city underground. Now a popular tourist destination, the underground city of Ringel goes down 18 stories and 85 meters. It's made up of a complex network of kitchens, stables, churches, tombs, wells, communal rooms, and schools, joined by about 600 internal entrances. Experts estimate it was created during the Byzantine era in 780 to 1180 AD and was most likely used as a bunker to protect inhabitants from the Arab-Byzantine Wars.